Before the sun breaks fully through the window panes of your room, the world has already begun whispering its lies, that today will be like every other day, that you are small and unseen, that the trivial is truly trivial, and that nothing you do today will echo into eternity. But this is not so. The day is not neutral, it is holy ground, and what you carry into it will shape how you pass through it. So before your feet find the floor, before your thoughts find their rhythm, remind yourself of these 5 truths. They will not just change your day, they may just change your life. I am not the center, but I am deeply seen. You are not the axis on which the world spins, and that is the beginning of peace. The world is not your stage, but you are known by the playwright. There is relief in this. You are not called to perform your own significance, only to walk in it. You are deeply seen by the one who knit you in silence and watches your day with sacred attention. Time is a gift I steward, not a possession I own. The ticking clock is not counting down your doom, it is counting up toward your redemption. Time is a trust, not a trap. Waste it and you rob yourself. Spend it and you feed your soul. Each minute is a seed. How you plant it determines what you'll harvest. Don't let this day slip away unblessed by intention. The mundane is never meaningless. Folding laundry, writing an email, sweeping the floor. These are not interruptions to spiritual life. They are spiritual life. The unseen duties of your day are seen by eyes eternal. A cup of water offered in kindness shakes something loose in the heavens. The smallest tasks done in love become the instruments of transformation. Every soul I encounter is immortal. There are no ordinary people. The barista, the colleague, the stranger on the street, each of them is a soul destined for glory or ruin. You have never talked to a mere mortal. Let your eyes not grow dull to the weight others carry. When you speak, speak life. When you listen, listen with eternity in mind. I am in a battle, even when it feels like breakfast. Evil does not announce itself with flames and fangs it clothed in laziness, impatience, and scrolling. You are always being formed by something. Either you will resist the slow drift of meaninglessness, or you will be swept into it. Begin your day armored not in fear, but in the conscious remembrance that your heart is a battlefield. Guard it. Hope is not a feeling, it's a daily practice. You do not wait for hope to arrive, you cultivate it like light in a dark room. Set your heart in the direction of the sunrise, even when all you see is cloud. Let gratitude rise like incense, even when there is no song in your chest. Hope is not passive, it is discipline dressed in light. So when the world greets you with noise and hurry, return again to these truths. Say them aloud, write them on your wall. Let them shape your steps. You are seen. You are steered by sacred time. You walk through holy ordinary things. You speak with immortals. And you fight a battle worth winning with hope as your lamp and love as your sword. Change your reminders and your day will change. Change enough days and your life will not stay the same. It is a strange and beautiful freedom to realize you are not the sun around which everything turns. The world was not created to revolve around your plans, your moods, your timing. And though this may first sting the pride, it soon becomes a comfort deeper than any applause or affirmation. For if the universe is not sustained by your striving, then neither will it collapse by your exhaustion. You are not the center, you never were. And that is not your shame, it is your rescue. From the moment we learn to walk, we begin to gather the illusion that the world awaits our next move. The laughter of adults at our first words, the applause when we succeed, the frowns when we fail, all teach us subtly to measure our worth by how we're received. We begin to believe that the spotlight must follow us or we are lost in the dark. But the light that matters most does not come from the stage, it breaks through the heavens. You are not the center, and yet you are watched more lovingly than if you were. There is a gaze that falls upon you not because you perform well, not because you impress, but because you are. Before your name was spoken by human lips, it was already known in the secret places. There is no audience necessary to validate your steps when you walk under the eye of the one who formed you. His seeing is not the harsh scrutiny of the world, but the tender attentiveness of the artist to his beloved craft. To be seen by him is not to be inspected, it is to be cherished. In a world so tangled with comparison and clamor, we often mistake visibility for value. We think if our faces are not seen by crowds, if our words are not echoed by many, if our work is not noticed by the public eye, then it must not matter. But the deepest things are always hidden. Roots grow in darkness. Diamonds form under pressure and in silence. The seed that transforms a forest does so underground, and so it is with the soul. You may not be the center of the world, but your quiet obedience, your unseen faithfulness, your unnoticed kindness, they are not forgotten. They are watched by eyes that never sleep and never look away. There is a freedom in stepping out of the center that this world cannot replicate. When you are not the axis, you are free to revolve around something greater. You are freed from the burden of always being right, always being praised, always being enough. Instead, you are invited to rest in the truth that you are held, that your life is woven into a story far richer and older and deeper than your own. The author does not require you to carry the plot. He only asks that you play your part with faithfulness. And even when you falter, he sees not your failure, but your frame. He remembers you are dust, and still he calls you beloved. It is precisely because you are not the center that you are safe to fall apart. You do not have to keep the world spinning. You do not have to keep yourself always together. There is grace for the uncomposed, mercy for the overwhelmed, peace for those who have stopped pretending to be sovereign over their own lives. The throne was never yours to occupy, and so it is not yours to defend. You are not the ruler, you are the child. And a good father does not forget his children. To be deeply seen is not the same as being widely seen. The world may overlook you, misunderstand you, even dismiss you, but he does not. He who sees in secret rewards in secret. He measures not by numbers, but by nearness. Not by results, but by surrender. Not by strength, but by trust. Every sigh you breathe in the solitude of pain is recorded. Every act of love when no one is watching is remembered. Every prayer that seems to vanish into silence is heard. Even the sparrow is seen. How much more you who were made in the image of the eternal? The gaze upon you is not passive. It is not bored. It is not waiting for you to become more impressive. It is fixed. It is faithful. It is full of light. You are not the center of the story, and yet your name is written on his hands. You are not the fire around which the universe warms itself, and yet your presence in this moment matters beyond what you can imagine. The hands that shaped galaxies also shaped your soul. The voice that thundered stars into being also whispers to your spirit. You are not overlooked. You are not incidental. You are not forgotten. We speak of time as though it belongs to us. My time, we say, when interrupted, I wasted time when something does not go as planned. But time was never ours. It is not a possession to be spent according to whim, nor a currency we are free to squander without consequence. Time is a gift, yes, but more precisely, it is a loan, and all loans come with a return. It is given not to be claimed, but to be answered for. The clock does not tick for our pleasure, nor does it pause for our excuses. Each moment is entrusted to us with sacred intent, not for comfort, not for ease, but for formation. We are not owners of our hours, we are stewards of them. And a steward, by definition, manages what belongs to another. The day in your hands is not yours, it is his, and it is dripping with eternal weight. You cannot hold time in your fists. It leaks through the cracks of your planning. It slips quietly through the cracks of distraction and delay, and no one, not the strongest, not the wisest, can hold it back. The future, no matter how tightly you try to grip it, remains untouchable. The past, no matter how often you visit it in memory, remains unchangeable. The only thing you are given is the now, and even that you are not guaranteed to keep. Every breath you take is an extension of mercy. To recognize time as a loan is to understand that you will be asked what you did with it. Not in the punishing sense of a tyrant tallying up tasks, but in the loving accountability of a father asking what you did with the inheritance of moments he trusted to you. He gave you the day not to prove yourself, but to meet him in it. He gave you the morning, not as a burden, but as a beginning. And though your calendar may be full, the most eternal parts of your life are rarely written in ink. We are eternal creatures trapped in temporal rhythms. We feel it even when we don't name it. The ache in the chest when a beautiful day ends, the longing for more time when standing at a hospital bed, the strange mix of grief and guilt when a year has passed and we do not know what we did with it. These are not simply emotions, they are echoes of our origin. They are reminders that we were made for more than seconds, minutes, and hours. We were made for forever, and every passing moment is either pulling us toward it or numbing us to it. The danger of misunderstanding time is not simply in wasting it, but in forgetting what it is meant to do. Time is not simply the stage where your life plays out, it is the tool by which your soul is sculpted. In the waiting rooms, the deadlines, the quiet hours, the long walks, the loud dinners, the rushed mornings, the sleepless nights, time is working on you. Or rather, he is. Time is not neutral. It presses into your shape. It reveals what is truly in you. And how you meet each moment, whether in gratitude or grumbling, purpose or passivity, determines what it makes of you. It is easy to believe that eternity is something that begins after death, but eternity does not wait at the far edge of your life. It is already present, like a river beneath the floorboards. Every second brushes up against it. Every act of love echoes into it. Every truth spoken, every wrong repented of, every small kindness offered in secret, all of it leans toward the eternal. You are not passing time, you are standing at the intersection of the temporal and the infinite every time you open your eyes in the morning. Even your interruptions are eternal opportunities dressed in inconvenience. The delay you did not plan, the conversation you did not seek, the child who needs your attention while you chase productivity, these are not diversions from what is holy. They are the very soil in which holiness grows. You will not always recognize which moments matter, which minutes carry more weight than others. So you must treat all of them as sacred. The brevity of time is not its tragedy, it is its urgency. The fact that your days are numbered is not cruelty, but clarity. You do not have forever to forgive, to speak, to create, to reconcile, to worship, to love. But the astonishing thing is that you do not need forever, you only need now. For he who made time has made this moment enough for what truly matters. You cannot stretch time, but you can sanctify it. You cannot slow it, but you can surrender it. And what is surrendered is never wasted. There is a deep deception that seeps quietly into the soul, that the sacred must be spectacular, that meaning hides only in the mountain peaks, not in the valley's slow routine. It whispers that unless your days are filled with visible impact or visible applause, then they are somehow wasted. But this is not the voice of truth. It is the lie of a culture drunk on noise and novelty. For in the economy of heaven, the mundane is often the holiest ground. God rarely thunders in dramatic gestures. He walks in gardens during the cool of the day. He does not always split seas to reveal his power. Sometimes he folds towels and washes feet. He does not need grand stages to do eternal work. Often he chooses kitchens, fields, bedsides, and lonely roads. His glory does not avoid the ordinary, it fills it until it overflows. We were not created to live only in highlight reels. The soul is not shaped in grand speeches or sudden conversions alone, but in the slow accumulation of faithful hours. The kingdom of God is like yeast, like a mustard seed, like a pearl buried in the grit of daily life. It hides in the little things not because it is small, but because we have trained our eyes to look too high and too far. The miracle is not that some things are meaningful. The miracle is that everything can be. There is no task too small to be touched by eternity. Folding laundry with gentleness, preparing food with gratitude, answering an email with patience, walking slowly with someone who needs more time. These are non-tritus mari, spiritual life. They are spiritual life. Holiness often wears the garments of habit. The floor swept today may be dirtied again tomorrow, but it is no less sacred for its repetition. The meal cooked tonight will be eaten and forgotten. but in preparing it with love. You have fed more than bodies, you have ministered to souls. And if you did it while tired, while no one noticed, while your name was unspoken, then perhaps it is even more precious. We live in a time that prizes visibility over virtue. We measure value by recognition, not by righteousness. But the Father who sees in secret sees everything. He does not miss the small act done in silence. He does not overlook the unthanked kindness, the private sacrifice, the long obedience in the same direction. He is not impressed by spectacle, he is drawn to sincerity. The saints were not saints because they always did big things. They were saints because they were faithful in small ones. To sweep the floor for the glory of God, to speak gently when provoked, to sit in silence with a grieving friend without offering clashes, these are the liturgies of love. They do not shout, they do not seek an audience, but they echo in heaven, you are not failing at life because today looked like yesterday. Your prayers are not less powerful because they were whispered over dishes instead of shouted from a pulpit. Your value is not diminished because your hands spent the day in the service of tasks no one applauded. There is no such thing as an ordinary moment in the presence of an extraordinary God. Children learn what love looks like not in lectures but in rhythms. A father who comes home every night. A mother who listens again and again. A friend who keeps showing up. These acts, repeated, become the scaffolding of trust. They do not often feel profound, but they are, for love is not made up of grand declarations, but of consistent demonstrations. If the Incarnation tells us anything, it tells us this, that God does not consider human routine beneath him. He who holds the stars once held a hammer. He who formed the oceans once washed tired feet. He who spoke galaxies into being spent most of his earthly life in silence, in sweat, in obscurity. The Savior did not rush through the mundane, he redeemed it. Do not despise the day of small things. Do not dismiss the quiet seasons, the repetitive days, the nameless hours. These are the altars where faith is forged. These are the places where unseen obedience prepares you for things your eyes cannot yet see. Every moment, however simple, can be offered like incense. Every duty, however dull, can be done in worship. Every hour, however hidden, can become holy. You have never spoken to a mere mortal, the person beside you in traffic, the one who bagged your groceries, the co-worker who grates your nerves, the friend who stayed up late listening to your worries, each one of them bears. Every soul you pass, no matter how seemingly ordinary, is headed toward a destination that will not end. The cashier at the coffee shop is not just a service provider. The beggar on the corner is not just a statistic. The angry man behind the counter, the quiet girl in the classroom, the driver who cut you off in traffic, they are all creatures more enduring than mountains, more permanent than empires. We forget this because the world teaches us to look at the surface. It is easier to reduce others to their usefulness, their mistakes, or their status than it is to look with the eyes of eternity. We categorize, dismiss, and judge without even realizing we've done it. But every face you see, even the ones you barely notice, is someone God crafted with care and intention. If you could see even a glimpse of the eternal soul within them, you might fall to your knees in awe, tremble with reverence. There are no small people. They are only hidden. Some carry their eternity quietly like lanterns under thick cloth. Others parade loudly, unaware of the treasure they mock or misuse. Some radiate their immortality like warmth on a winter day. Others hide it beneath pain, pride, fear, or indifference. Truth remains, every soul is an everlasting thing, either growing more radiant and real with love, or twisting further inward towards self-shadow. To see someone as eternal is to refuse to let their worst moment define them. It is to speak not only to what they are, but to what they are becoming or could become. It is to see them not just as they appear, but as they are known in the heart of God. Every soul you meet is sacred, not because they have earned it, but because he has stamped them with his image. That image may be marred by time, cracked by trauma, hidden behind layers of sin and sorrow, but it is there still pulsing like a forgotten melody waiting to be remembered. Think of the people you overlook, the ones who seem too loud, too quiet, too broken, too proud. Think of those who hurt you. Think of those you love but find difficult. Think of those you envy. Think of those you pity. Each one is an eternal being on a journey they can scarcely understand. And you have been given the chance not always to change their path, but to offer light for one step along the way. A kind word, a withheld judgment, a simple act of patience, these are not small gestures. In the world of souls, they are monumental. You may not be able to rescue anyone from their choices, but you can bear witness to their worth. You can carry the reminder, even silently, that they matter beyond measure. This is no sentimental fiction, it is the terrifying and beautiful truth. The person you find most irritating may one day by grace be more glorious than the stars, and the one who seems most glamorous may one day become so hollow you cannot bear to look. This is the weight of eternal things. To love your neighbor is not just a moral command, it is a spiritual recognition. When you pass by a soul, you pass by someone for whom eternity is not just a destination, but a present reality. You pass by someone who may one day sit beside you in unimaginable joy or weep forever in unimaginable loss. This makes every conversation more than small talk, every conflict more than tension, every relationship more than a transaction. The eternal does not only dwell in cathedrals or cosmic mysteries, it walks the halls of schools, the aisles of grocery stores, the quiet corners of late-night phone calls. It laughs over dinner. It sits on park benches. It cries in hospital rooms. The eternal is not waiting beyond the veil, it is all around you, clothed in the flesh of people you might have overlooked today. The immortal souls around you are not obstacles to your to-do list or extras in the background of your personal drama. They are sacred living beings with destinies that will stretch beyond death and time, beings that God has placed in your path not by accident, but by design. They are each a mystery you are called to treat with care, a story still being written. A mirror that, however dimly reflects the face of the one who made them, there is a quiet war being waged around you, whether or not you rise to meet it. Not all battles are loud, not all enemies march in with swords drawn. Some come with silence. Some slip into your routine and disguise themselves as comfort, apathy, or the constant hum of distraction. You are in battle even when it feels like breakfast, perhaps especially then. The danger is in the assumption that peace means the absence of threat. That because the morning is calm, the soul is safe. That because there is no headline of spiritual warfare, there is no enemy at the gate. But the deepest battles are not fought in crisis, they are fought in habit. They unfold over the coffee cup, at the intersection of boredom and temptation, between the choice to scroll or pray, to criticize or bless, to speak with grace or sigh with disdain. You are not simply starting a day, you are stepping onto a field. The enemy of your soul is not foolish, he is subtle. He does not always come with obvious evil. He comes clothed in the ordinary because he knows that's where your guard is lowest. He would rather you be busy than sinful, distracted rather than destroyed, numb rather than surrendered. If he can keep your eyes dull and your heart heavy with meaningless motion, then he has already won more ground than if he had knocked at your door with fury. So the battlefield becomes the kitchen table, the commute, the inbox, the scroll through your phone. It becomes the moment when you choose whether or not to give thanks before you eat, whether you listen to your children or answer them while half distracted, whether you allow your mind to drift into resentment or return it to discipline. These are not interruptions to the spiritual war, they are the terrain of it. Victory does not always look like a dramatic triumph. Sometimes it looks like choosing silence instead of sarcasm. Sometimes it looks like shutting off the screen when no one else would know. Sometimes it looks like forgiving before you feel like it, or praying when your bones are too tired for eloquence. These are the weapons of war, not the grand gestures, but the steady resolve to say, again and again, I will not give my soul away for comfort. The truth is, you are always being shaped. Each day is not neutral, it bends your soul in one direction or another. You are either becoming more patient or more irritable, more generous or more grasping, more rooted in truth or more tangled in lies. The breakfast table is not just a place for meals, it is the front line of formation. And the choices you make in these moments are more powerful than any speech you might give or any platform you might gain. Do not wait for the war to become visible. The visible war is often the final stage of the battle already lost in private. The public falls of men and women do not begin with public decisions, they begin with quiet surrenders made when no one was watching, with compromises that seemed too small to matter, with thoughts that went unchecked, with pride disguised as confidence, with self-pity dressed as exhaustion. It is the slow erosion of watchfulness that leaves the soul exposed. To be aware of the battle is not to live in fear, is to live with clarity. The soldier who forgets he is in a war does not rest, he wanders. He becomes soft, vulnerable, open to ambush. But the one who wakes with understanding girds himself not with panic but with purpose. He is not surprised by resistance. He is not discouraged by difficulty. He expects hardship because he knows what's at stake. The armor of your spirit must be put on daily, not when things get hard, but when they still feel easy. For ease is when we are most tempted to drift. Gratitude is not natural, it is a choice. Holiness is not automatic, it is cultivated. The morning in its simplicity is either your ally or your downfall, depending on how you treat it. The moment you wake, the moment you rise, the moment you make your first choice, that is when the war begins anew. The ancient enemy has no need to storm the gates of a heart already lulled to sleep by comfort. He will let you eat, let you laugh, let you go about your day so long as you forget what you are, so long as you mistake routine for peace, so long as you never ask who is shaping your desires, who is speaking into your silence, who benefits from your passivity. You were never promised a battle-free life. You were promised strength in the midst of it. You were not called to survive the day, but to stand in it, not by your own power, but by the one who fights unseen beside you. Hope is often mistaken for something soft and spontaneous, as if it drifts into the heart like a warm breeze, uninvited and effortless. We speak of hope as though it was something we either wake up with or go without, something as unpredictable as the weather or as fleeting as a mood. But real hope, durable hope, is not an emotion that visits you, it is a discipline you train into the bones of your soul. The kind of hope that anchors you in the storm does not arise by accident. It is not built in good times, nor does it depend on them. It is not optimism, which rises and falls with circumstance. It is not cheerfulness, which fades in the face of sorrow. Hope is a decision, a habit, a defiant orientation of the heart toward the light, even when all you see is shadow. It is forged in the furnace of repetition, in choosing to lift your eyes when everything in you says to hang your head. The world around us trains us in disappointment. We are told not to get our hopes up. We are warned against naivety. We are taught from early on to expect less so we are not wounded more. This kind of self-protection masquerades as wisdom, but it slowly makes us smaller. It teaches us to anticipate absence instead of presence, silence instead of song, lack instead of love. And in this slow erosion of wonder, we begin to think that cynicism is maturity. But cynicism requires no courage. Hope does. Hope wakes up before the sun and prays even when the heavens are silent. Hope plants seeds it may never see bloom. Hope writes letters to the future while the present still aches. Hope speaks life over dry bones. It brushes off the dust from disappointment and tries again and again and again. Not because it is blind, but because it sees something deeper, a promise stitched into the fabric of the universe, whispered by the one who holds time and eternity in his hands. To live with hope is not to deny pain, it is to defy it. It is to believe that sorrow does not have the final word, that the night, however long, will end, that behind every winter is the seed of spring. But such belief is not born out of ease. It comes from deciding again and again to look for the light. Hope is cultivated the way a garden is, with intention, with effort, with patience. You must kneel down in the dirt of your own life and sow it by hand. There will be days when you don't feel like hoping, Days when grief or anxiety or silence will sit heavy on your chest. In those moments, hope does not disappear. It becomes quieter, harder, more necessary. It becomes a discipline of the will. You choose to trust. You choose to remember. You choose to hold on to a truth bigger than your emotion. And in doing so, you train your soul to stand when the winds rise. The psalmist did not wait for hope to arise naturally. He spoke to his own soul, "Why are you downcast within me?" Hope in God. He did not wait for the feeling, he commanded the focus. He turned his face intentionally toward what is unseen, because he knew that the seen world was not all there is. This is the discipline of hope, to refuse despair its throne, even when it howls for your surrender. We practice hope in small ways before we practice it in great ones. We give thanks before the answer comes. We light candles in the dark. We write in journals we're not sure anyone will read. We sing songs of joy in minor keys. We choose to smile not because life is painless, but because we believe pain is not purposeless. Every act of hope, however small, is a rebellion against the tyranny of despair. The discipline of hope does not promise immediate results. It does not offer shortcuts. But it slowly shapes a soul that does not break in the storm. A soul that bends toward the promise even when the sky is still gray. A soul that sees beneath the rubble of the day a kingdom that cannot be shaken. To practice hope is to rehearse the truth of eternity in the silence of today. It is to make your heart a vessel for something that cannot be seen yet but is coming. Something already planted, something already spoken, something already true, even if not yet visible.